The Thief's Journal by Elijah McMichael. I am a thief. I'm not just any thief, though. I was the greatest thief there was. I could hide in plain sight or pickpocket anyone I wanted to. I also stole from the rich to give to the poor. I am not who you think I am. And yes, this is a story of a thief, but not the ones that your parents read to you as a bedtime story. My story is about a different thief. And I was even better than the ones you have read about and your parents have read to you as a bedtime story. This is my story of being a thief that would steal from the rich and give to the poor at any cost. I would give anything to save my town from the chaos that the rich and the wars have caused. I would even kill for it. I love my town, and I want it to go back to how it was before the Lords called for the Crown Wars. I think that the Crown Wars were uncalled for. I believe the Lords have lied about taxing for the Crown Wars. I think that they have been getting rich off the poor, and I want to put a stop to it. I fought in the Crown Wars for 4 years until I tried to tell my commander that we shouldn't kill a child, and tried to save the child, but failed, because I was outnumbered and I got held down and shot by the commander. Then I had to go back to England on the wounded ship, and I was declared dead. My name is Rial Nalo, and I am a very skilled archer and swordsman. Once I got back, I got even better, because I was taught by the father of the kid I tried to save, and the father taught me a lot more than I knew before, even though everybody, even his wife, thought I was dead, and they all moved on. My wife got a boyfriend, which made me jealous, and feel like nobody cared. But I knew that it was because I was declared dead, so she had moved on at some point. But the kid's father told me that we have to lay low if we want to be able to take the city back, at least for a little while. My mentor's name was Nassar Mandul, and he trained me to be a better archer and swordsman. I was good before, but Nassar helped me get better. I could fire faster than anyone. I could fire 3 to 4 arrows at a time and hit all of my targets, or put all 4 in one target, and I never missed. I also could hit you so fast you didn't even have time to react. And I became the best archer and swordsman ever. My training was tough, but I pushed through. I would ask Nassar, when can I actually do some good? Nassar kept telling me, when you're ready. I would say, but I've been training for months. Nassar would tell me, you're not ready. Fine, I would say, even though I didn't feel that way. So I kept on training and training until I couldn't train anymore. I would train from dawn till dusk, day till night, sun up till sundown. I would train and train and train till it hurt, and still kept training. Finally, I was ready, except I didn't have anything to wear that would suit my needs, so I started work on a suit. It was a lightweight leather suit, had a hood to help cover my face, and a flexible design. The hood was part of a cloak I wore over the suit, and the cloak was like a greenish-grayish color, and it hid me very well at night and in the day. It also worked in the city and in the forest. So now I was ready. I would start with toll booths, then I would go on to the church, and after that to the treasury. But before the church and the treasury, I would just raid the toll booths. During the night, I would raid the toll booths as the Hood, which I liked a little bit, but I thought I could think of a better name than the Hood. But back to during the day. During the day, I was known as Lord Rial Nalo, or Lord Nightbreeze. Some even called me Lord Nalo the Valiant. So I would use that to my advantage to get close to the Sheriff of Askelhorn, so I could take down his scheme of paying for the Crown Wars. I didn't feel that it was right. Even after I fought in the wars myself, I felt that it should be a choice to choose if you wanted to give a donation to the war efforts. I felt that it should not be required to do, and I knew that a lot of that was going into the officials' pockets and not to the war, so I decided that I was going to give it back to the poor that rich are stealing from. So I was going to steal from the rich and give to the poor. So I started to steal from the toll booths, and then from rich people's pockets without them even knowing. I once stole the guy's house keys right off his belt without him knowing. Then I went to the guy's house and emptied all his money. I also stole his horse and his dog. He won't be needing them anytime soon. Now, I was going for something bigger. I was going to rob the church after church service because I knew there would be a lot of money there. I had to be careful, though, because there were guards. And my best friend, even though my best friend didn't know that I was the Hood, I needed to be careful. I didn't want to ruin my friendship with Shum, even though he didn't like what was going on. I robbed the church counting room with ease, but I knew there was something more going on. I also just found out that the townsfolk had been forced from Askelhorn proper and into the mines, so I went there to see if I could find Yami. I had seen her a little while before going into the town to get some food and other stuff, but when I did, I regretted that I had forgotten that she had a new boyfriend, and it hit me hard once again for the second time now. She had seen me watching from a distance, and made her feel bad, so she went into Nightbreeze Manor to see if I was there. I was, but I didn't go down because Nassar had told me it would bring her into it, and if she finds out our plans, they might try to kill her too. That made me think about it for a while, and not go down to see Yami. But what I didn't know, at the time, was that she thought that something was not right with the taxing for the war effort too. There was a party being thrown to honor the Cardinal. Me and Yami were invited. I loved Yami, and didn't want her to get hurt. I had already seen a lot of pain and suffering for 3 lifetimes. I didn't want to see her die. I wouldn't be able to take it. I would give up on life at that point, so I did not go down to talk to her. I felt sorry for going into the Crown Wars, because it had ruined the relationship. I still loved her, but I was mad at her because we agreed that we would wait for each other. She said she would wait for me, so when I found out that she had moved on, it broke me. But I couldn't worry about that, because I had to get as many people as I could to help me fight back, so the first person I would drag in would be Shum. After Shum, I would drag in Yami, because I knew she would trust me, but before I could do that, she got captured by the old commander who the Sheriff of Askelhorn hired to take out the Hood, because she wouldn't pay taxes for the war effort. Him and the guards put her in a box in the back of a cart. When they went to tax the people in the mines, I got there in the middle of the raid, so I had to help. I wasn't just going to let them destroy my city like this and treat my people like this. I heard her screaming, but I had to get the guards to leave the people alone first, so I made them chase me. Nassar was there too. He stole the cart with Yami on it in the box. But I was having to fight my old commander. My old commander was yelling at his guards to shoot my horse, so when they finally did, I was lucky Nassar was there in time. So when I was on the back of the wagon, I was telling Nassar to keep it steady. I got Yami out, and she had found out that it was me all along. Says, "You call that a disguise?" I said, "Well, it fooled everybody else." Now, I had to help the people and not worry about mine and Yami's relationship. So I went down to the mines to give them inspiration. I was lucky I got there when I did, though, because Will was trying to convince them to leave. So I decided I was going to convince them to stay and fight. They told me why we should trust you. We don't even know who you are. After that I said, fine, I'll show you my face, and so I did. Then they decided to fight alongside me because now they could trust me. All except Will, but he fought with me anyway because his people were fighting alongside me. Now I would talk to Yami and see if she would join in. Of course she'd say yes. But I better not hurt myself again. What? You don't want to pull something out of me like that piece of wood through my gut? I said. Yami says, no, I don't want to pull a piece of wood out of you again, or anything for that matter. Now it was time to get to work so we could fight back. We had to get ready, so we got to work on making highly flammable bottles. These things were like Molotov cocktails. Then we worked on hollowing out a tunnel under the road to stop the money wagon. We made a spot under where it would go, where we had a spot where we could collapse the road to get the gold out of the wagon. Now that that part of it was done, we had to get the fight the guards part under control. So that's where the people come in, so we would fight the guards as well. Me and Yami and Shum got the gold out of the cart. Now, after 2 weeks of planning, we were ready to set the plan in motion. We just had to wait for them to be moving the gold, silver, and all the donations. So after 2 more days of waiting, they got their one and only chance. We had to make it count, so they had to time everything perfectly to be able to pull it off first. Shum would go across the road with some of the highly flammable stuff and pour it in the road, in 2 places to form a roadblock, to block in the fight, and when we got the guards and the people, they would block them in so the guards couldn't get out and shoot at me and Yami, or it would at least buy some time. But the sheriff made the guards use their shields to get through the fire so he could get to the money. He was also yelling, "They're stealing my money!" Then the commander shot at me and hit me in the leg, but I kept helping move the gold bags. Then the commander jumped down and tried to fight me. I didn't want to fight him, but I had to, and when I got him on the ground, I could not pull myself to kill him. Yami killed him with a pickaxe. What the hell, Yami? Then They made their way through the tunnel to the other side to get away with the others, and now we were all wanted criminals. So, if anyone wants out, it's kind of too late, I said. Then me and Yami got some time to ourselves. I asked her if she would please pull out the crossbow bolt. She looked at me and said, "Okay, but you can't make me like it." After that, I went back secretly, of course, to see what had been happening. And, of course, being the smart aleck I am, I just had to shoot the wanted sign out of Will's hand into the post behind him. After that, Yami and I patched up our relationship, and then after a couple of years we got married. A few years later, we had a family, and the kids started to learn how to shoot a bow at age 5. They got to be almost as good as me by age 12. By age 15, they could fire up to 3 or 4 arrows at a time, and by age 18, they could almost match me in a fair fight. Then, by age 21, I let them help me try to take back our city once again. Then soon after, I would hand off the mantle to my youngest son. But before that, I started up the Thieves' Guild, and once I did, I also handed that off, but not to my oldest son. I handed it off to my middle daughter, and my oldest son would get the manor and a third of the estate. In honor of my mentor and father figure, I named my youngest son after him, so his name is Nassar II, because Nassar I had died. My middle child and only daughter's name was Silen. My oldest son's name was Rin. They all would grow up and become great people, or at least successful people. After 26 years of waiting, I was finally going to take back my city, and my family was going to help me. Then, after that, they would go off and become very successful, Silen with a Thieves' Guild. I also built a legacy for myself, and now I wasn't known as the Hood. I was called by many mysterious names. I used the empire I built up over all these years to do things along with my family. I asked if they would help me, and they said yes, of course. I wished Nassar could be here to watch, but he died shortly after mine and Yami's youngest was born. But I told myself to pull it together. This is what my mentor would have wanted. Now I would take it back. I didn't care if they saw me. I knew that there were wanted signs out for me. I'd put the first one up myself with an arrow. Now that it was finally time for me, my empire and my family would go take back our city once and for all.